Today we're doing a tour on the Duwamish River.
Once polluted, now much improved, the best way to see the progress on the Duwamish River is by boat.
The people who have gone on to be very successful there did go through this program.
With hundreds of wineries in Washington, South Seattle College's Wine Academy has become a much-needed resource.
When I watch these shows, I'm like a kid again.
We peek behind the curtain of the nation's longest-running comedy variety show, the Moisture Festival. These stories and more next on CityStream. Hello, I'm Jeff Renner. Welcome to CityStream from the Marra Farm P-Patch. This spot in southwest Seattle is one of 89 community gardens across the city. We're here for two reasons. First, this year marks the 50th anniversary of Seattle's popular P-Patch program, which allows residents to grow fresh vegetables and herbs in public gardens. We're also here to observe Earth Day, just 11 days away. Earth Day gave rise to the Clean Water Act, the Environmental Protection Agency, and many other programs. The EPA factors into our first story about Seattle's only river, the Duwamish, just a few blocks from here. Once pristine and a lifeblood for tribes, the river became toxic in the 20th century. This prompted the EPA to declare the lower Duwamish a Superfund site in 2001. Since then, much has improved, and the Duwamish River Community Coalition offers boat tours to show the progress made. Producer Pete Cassim took a ride.
Today we're doing a tour on the Duwamish River on the Admiral Jack. The Admiral Jack is a Marine high school boat that they use for educational purposes. Today is a community tour. This used to be one of the largest mud flats on the West Coast. People that are coming from the community actually get a chance to see the river from the river. And that's the best way to see the river. It was one of the richest places as far as wildlife was concerned anywhere around. It was one of the largest mud flats on the West Coast. This river is basically named for the tribe because this is our place. And the very beginnings of the city of Seattle, the mudflat was worthless to the settlers. They started filling in the mudflats with anything they could find. Everything from Yesler's mill, all the sawdust and everything went out into the bay, even rubble from the San Francisco earthquake. This river has been straightened. It's right now is 5 miles. It used to be 15 miles. The meanders that a normal river would have. You'll see some of those here. The old river, the way that it used to be. So what we're coming up to is what's called Duwamish Diagonal. Duwamish Diagonal is a combined sewer overflow. Drains 30 square miles, all the way up to I-90, all the way down to Lake Washington. As soon as they started dredging here, all of that contaminated mud went up and down the river. If there wasn't a place that wasn't contaminated on the river, it probably got contaminated from this early action area. This was designated a Superfund site in 2001 from just beyond the turning basin all the way up to Harbor Island. What we're coming up to now is previously known as T107 Park, but now it's known as Ha'apus, which is the Indian name for this place. This place had a lumber yard that did creosote, a very polluted area back here. The lumber yard has been completely cleaned up and now is actually an intertidal habitat. This is part of the mudflat that you can see right out here. And that's the only remaining part of the old mudflat. This place is one of the most important salmon habitats that we have on the Duwamish River because it's the old habitat, not new habitat. So more cement companies. We have many, many cement companies here. They have their problems, but in most cases, they're better now than they were before. This is the First Avenue Street Bridge. That's an all-purpose grader. You can put a school bus into that thing, and it comes out in little pieces.
No way. Wow.
When it rains here, a lot of that just comes right into the water. Is we have to have source control sufficiency to be able to do the cleanup. Kicking and screaming, they'll come along. I can guarantee you that, because they have to. Boeing Plant 2. You can see the habitat that they've redone here. Innovative things that Boeing did on this site. A series of 4 ponds that water goes through and then is able to be brought into the river as clean water. Malarkey asphalt was a very contaminated area. Because of that, we now have this habitat site here. This is the estuary. This is where salt water and fresh water meet. We're still not seeing salmon increase here yet, but we're not seeing them decrease either. That this river is alive. And when I first started here a long time ago, it was not in good shape at all. The process takes time to know where all the contamination is, what is that contamination, and then go back and check it to make sure we got things right. That's what takes so long here. It's probably going to take another 25 years to get the rest of the cleanup done, but every step in this process makes the river a better place. And I hope that people take away that they are part of this, that they can be part of this. Just to understand it is the first big step. And it's mostly a good story. So much better than it was, and it's only going to get better.
The Duwamish River Community Coalition offers monthly boat tours. For more information, check out their website, drcc.org, and search for River Tours. Also, the man you just saw, James Rasmussen, is a Duwamish tribal member and former Superfund manager. This was his last river tour after leading them for many years. Just ahead, the state's rapidly expanding wine industry is looking to South Seattle College for help. We'll explain as CityStream continues. CityStream returns from the Marra Farm P-Patch in the South Park neighborhood. As we mentioned, 2023 is the 50th anniversary of the city's P-Patch community gardening program. For 5 decades, residents have grown food, flowers, and herbs on plots of land they pay a small fee to farm. Managed by the Seattle Department of Neighborhoods, the program has grown to 89 P-Patches and is now the largest municipally managed community gardening program west of New York. Those involved in the program say it can't be beat.
The best part of the gardening is breaking the dependency on mass-produced vegetables from the large supermarket chains. There's nothing like growing your own and tasting those mustard greens, those strawberries, those yellow ear of corn that have that sweetness in it, and know that you, from the beginning, all the way up to the time you bite into whatever you've grown, you participated directly in that. I love that part of it.
And the program provides more than just planting. This was me a few years ago. On the right, inside the bee enclosure at the High Point Commons Garden.
So this is the inner cover. This is always the most exciting part during the field trips for the kids.
Oh, there are a lot of them in here. This impressive display is an example of the educational offerings that add to the richness of the P-Patch program. Finally, if you're curious where the name P-Patch originated, it actually commemorates the Picardo family, who operated a truck farm in Wedgwood. The family loaned a portion of its farm to the city, which then became Seattle's first community garden. And that explains what the P stands for in P-Patch. Moving on now from community gardens to commercial farms. This state is one of the most productive agricultural regions in the world, with more than 300 different crops raised. But one in particular, premium wine grapes, has fueled an entire industry. Washington State now has more than 1,100 wineries with an economic impact of some $8 billion. That's led to a surge of people wanting to learn more. And thanks to the Northwest Wine Academy at South Seattle College, they don't have to look far. Nicole Sanchez explains.
So this is our brand new rosé, just released 2 weekends ago.
Alan Gregorius never dreamed he'd work in the wine industry.
The Albarino, Spanish varietal.
But here, in the tasting room at Elsum Cellars, he feels at home.
Even in my family, Filipino culture, there's not that much influence in wine. Mostly spirits, beer, but it's crazy now how much I'm called during family, gatherings, or I'm the wine guy now of the family.
What it does say is hand-harvested grapes.
Alan credits the Northwest Wine Academy with helping him to learn more about the industry and advance his career in the world of wine.
Cool. Taste some wines.
The one thing that I loved about those classes were how hands-on they were. That's one of the one things with wine, especially like if you're learning how to taste, being to go into a classroom and then being curated by a sommelier as well, kind of opens your eyes.
The Northwest Wine Academy is located on the campus of South Seattle College. It was established in 2004 and is the only working and teaching winery in Western Washington.
This is basically the process in AAL, so we'll let that run for 10 minutes. And
the Academy offers certificates and degrees in wine production and marketing and sales, opening doors for a lot of people who never thought they would end up working in wine.
It's around, and like the Sangiovese.
Nihal Wilembe grew up in India and is an international student who found his way to the Academy.
I'm doing the marketing and sales in food and wine, currently taking classes like food and wine pairing, wines of the world, and business operations.
Wilembe has big dreams. He believes his schooling will enable him to open his own restaurant someday.
Hopefully work in a restaurant as a sommelier for a couple of years and then probably move back home and open up my own restaurant because my interest is both culinary and wine.
Lenny Reed leads the culinary side of the Academy. He's worked in the industry for several decades and has a passion to help students like Wilembe fulfill their dreams.
Here we've got restaurants and retailers, importers. We have graduates that have come out of the program that have started import companies. They're working for import companies. We have people that are working for distributors that have started distributors. And again, a lot of the sommeliers, I can't walk into a restaurant in this town and not have one of the graduates, run into a graduate of the program.
This is a very standard procedure.
John Darren is the winemaker and winemaking instructor. He says he has students of all ages and backgrounds learning about wine.
We have a real strong focus on diversity here. We have students of every imaginable background you could see. We have students that are international. We have students that are, either older or come from, backgrounds that don't necessarily aren't classically aligned with the winemaking community.
The Academy also has a tasting room that reopened in late 2022 after it shut down during the pandemic. This allows the public to sample its wines and gives students hands-on experience in a tasting room.
There it is.
And it's not just the students who appreciate the classes that are offered here. The wine industry recognizes the benefits of the Academy as well.
The program does better, they do better. We are one of the main suppliers for a lot of the, labor coming into, all of Seattle. So a lot of the people who have gone on to be very successful there did go through this program.
Have you been here before?
Back at Elsom Cellars, which is a female-owned and led winery located in Sodo, Jody Elsom, the owner and founder, wishes the academy was open when she went to school. She had to commute from Seattle to Prosser when she took classes through the WSU Extension program.
And they just want to share that knowledge, and they have a passion for sharing it with everyone. So it's been a huge benefit. And we see it in our employees. They come with a special passion for the wine and inherent knowledge that you wouldn't typically see.
Elsom values the Northwest Wine Academy so much she's hired employees who've taken courses there, including her winemaker.
Having it so close to where a lot of people live, and there is a lot of passion for wine in this area. We don't have a lot of vines here, but being able to make it in the city and learn about wines from around the world, it's a very global industry.
This is actually the first wine that I ever had the experience of personally bottling. I had no idea that there was any wine program in Western Washington. And so I had started looking into it, thinking I don't want to go for a full degree. I don't ever want to make wine. I don't, particularly at this point in my life, want to work full time. So I contacted them and said, can I just take classes? And they were super open to that.
This is our Mourvedre.
Gregorius plans to take more classes at the academy while working at Elsom Cellars to earn his AA degree along with a wine certificate. This will allow him to continue working in the field he's so passionate about.
Let's mix them together, right?
He believes the academy is critical to the growth of wine in Seattle.
That's cool, guys.
Especially for those with diverse backgrounds who want to further their education in this growing field.
Wine's starting to be a lot more accessible nowadays, which is awesome. And there's always been that stigma. But yeah, there's a lot more people of color, Asian, Black. Everyone's starting to get into it, which is awesome.
The tasting room at the Northwest Wine Academy is now open Thursday through Saturday. And since the Academy is a nonprofit, it works hard to keep prices affordable. Most of the wines being sold right now are under $20. Now, if you'd like more information about the Wine Academy or the tasting room, just go to nwwineacademy.southseattle.edu. Just ahead on CityStream, it's a dazzling display of onstage antics. Seattle's Moisture Festival is next. Finally, do you know the name of the world's longest-running comedy variety festival? It's the Seattle Moisture Festival, now in its 19th year, and there's no signs of it slowing down. Audiences are astounded and bewildered by the onstage antics, but what happens behind the scenes is equally amazing. Producers Kathy Toohey and Valerie Vaza take a rare peek behind the curtain.
Are we going? Is it rolling? Do we need to do the snap? Snap! Begin!
Moisture Festival is a festival of comedy, variety, circus arts, neo-vaudeville, every kind of thing you can imagine on the stage. It's the longest running festival of its kind in the world. All shows are here at Broadway Performance Hall. Yeah, this is mine. No costumes. We've got 4 weeks of shows. The first 3 weeks of shows are variety arts. The final week, 4th week, is burlesque shows. And then closing night of the 4th week is another variety show to close out the whole festival. In 2004, the first festival was held in a tent in a parking lot in Fremont.
One of the key things about this festival is I was at a festival in Berlin. It was a comedy variety festival there. And so I came back and talked to Mark DeVee and Tim First. Said, why don't we try this in Seattle? And so we didn't know it was going to last 18 years. After that first year, we were invited to relocate to Hales Palladium, and now we're here at the Broadway Performance Hall on Capitol Hill. Sometimes we just shake our heads and go, how does this even work? How does it even work?
It works because of our over 250 volunteers. The people you see at the box office.
Welcome, glad you're here.
All the way up through the lobby, our concessions, all the crew working the shows, all the people working backstage with our artists to make their experience amazing.
Is this gonna work for you?
That is all volunteers.
So nice to finally meet you.
Works are going out. Heads up. The yellow balls. It's white, purple, blue, purple and blue. White, white, blue, white, red, white, purple, white, green. The balls will glow.
Yeah.
Jen Wensrich is the heart and soul of Moisture Festival. She holds all the keys and all the secrets, and she knows everything there is about this festival. It would not happen without her.
This year we have 156 artists performing, and one of the reasons they come here is for the camaraderie.
Because they're always performing in different places, you know, this fair or that theater or that cruise ship, but they never get to hang out together. And this festival lets them all hang out together. Where have you been? Where have you been? Tell me where I can get a gig, blah, blah, blah. You know, they have fun together. The other thing about the camaraderie is that the artists and the volunteers all share a meal at the end of the show. The volunteers get to know the artists. The artists get to know these people in Seattle who come and work long hours to put these shows on.
Ron Bailey, he call him our Scottish leprechaun, and he always has a smile, always has a laugh, always has a clever thing to say. He is the artistic heart and soul of this organization.
Don't talk about RB. Ron Bailey should never be mentioned in public. We should keep that private. We only talk about him in the restroom.
Oh, yeah. Hey! Yeah. I just cover this bass and that bass and do whatever's necessary. And I'm also a musician, so every now and again I'll sing a little song.
Why do they call it the Moisture Festival? I want to give you my 2 cents.
The live show bands really are a key part of what makes this thing happen. And each week has a different show band. So when you have a live band accompanying the artist, that's a beautiful thing, a beautiful thing. The last week of shows at the festival are burlesque shows. If you've never been to a burlesque show, they are so much fun. I mean, it's basically sexual humor, and it's not lewd at all. It's not lewd. There's so many creative approaches to how one takes this off and puts that on.
Shall we go in? Come this way. Walk this way. Come on. Come walk this way. Walk. Keep coming. This way. It's right up here. Come on. Up the stairs. Careful. Careful.
You know, it's hard to describe really why I love this kind of entertainment so much. I believe in laughter, and I believe in appreciating some of these bizarre skills we see on the stage. That combination of appreciation of an art form and laughing together, that's what keeps me excited about this.
The Moisture Festival wraps up with 5 burlesque shows and the big finale April 16th at the Broadway Performance Hall. We'll be right back. That wraps up this episode of CityStream from the Marra Farm P-Patch in Southwest Seattle. If you'd like more information about the City of Seattle's Community Gardening Program, check out this website, seattle.gov/neighborhoods, and select the tab P-Patch Gardening. I'm Jeff Renner. Thank you for watching.